live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Miq Strawn.
So I feel like we need to put a disclaimer on this one because we've
completely blown any aspect of our usual carefulness in blowing the plot.
Yeah, this is like the most spoilers we've had in one episode, and I'm not even going to bother to edit it. I'm just going to put it out the way it is.
We just started right out from the beginning and didn't change, so yeah.
Well, it has been out for a couple weeks, so
it has, and I think that everybody that wants to see it has seen it already. So,
and if they haven't,
yes.
Oh my God! So I got the pleasure of seeing this. Actually, I think it was the week you left, right?
Right.
But I saw this by myself. This is not the movie to start with by yourself, by the way.
Yeah. This is a very dark film.
Kind of a downer.
Yeah. Oh boy, there was something that I had to say about that is with all the notoriety about the violence and all that. I didn't get that because we've been doing that for, since The Godfather. So, what the hell?
Yeah. There was one shot that just kind of disturbed me a little bit, like at first, but the one with the guy on the show.
Oh yeah, Robert.
That one was a little intense for me, and I'm like, because it was kind of realistic,
Yeah.
So yeah, but then I realized, well, I've seen that before.
Right. And the thing is you were just sitting there waiting for it. You knew that it was going to happen from the very beginning. But I kind of had a problem with the film, just in terms of, I thought it was really long. I mean, you know me, it's a thing with me. Length of films. I always think that I can take 20 minutes out of anything, but it would have been super easy to take 20 minutes out of the Joker.
Wow. Do you know, I just pulled my notes out, and the third thing down says, very well done. It didn't feel like 2 hours.
Really?
I got into it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't feel like 2 hours. It felt like 3 hours.
Of course, my favorite movie is The Seventh Seal by Ingmar Bergman.
Right, yeah.
So that says a lot right there, because that's a pretty slow-paced movie.
Well, the thing is there's segments that to me, I kept thinking to myself that Todd Phillips had. I couldn't decide who was further up the other's ass. Todd Phillips was up River Phoenix or River Phoenix up Todd Phillips' ass, because there were so many scenes that were.
You mean Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Because River Phoenix has been dead for a while.
Oh, he didn't. Just kidding. Yeah. Roller? No. Yeah. No. It's.
Well, I didn't want you to keep saying River Phoenix.
No,
we know.
Sorry, that kind of puts my age there, right? Doesn't it? Okay. So anyway,
well, it's okay. I knew who he was, so that says something about me too.
So many scenes that were just him doing facial contortions and body contortions in front of the camera.
Oh, but that was good.
It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good, but none of it was.
Well, how do you do character development and have a character arc like with this kind of movie, like psychological, like depression and craziness, without having it be a little bit longer?
You do it right.
There were some scenes that I thought were kind of too short, actually. Like there's some in the subway and stuff, things like that. That were kind of jarring. I guess I don't know. Maybe they were supposed to be.
Yeah, but for instance, I think that to a certain extent, you could have taken the entire the scene where he's in the refrigerator. I have no idea what that was about. Okay,
right.
You could have removed that scene, and you could have done a stronger discovery of him with the girl, and more that more of that realization that he had never been with her before, right? I mean, I think that I think that entire element could have been put under a microscope better, because that was a truly mesmerizing, horrible thing, and it was glossed over because those two guys were so far up each other's asses, right?
Right. Well, I think Todd Phillips had mentioned that he was trying to base this on like 1970s,
right,
Scorsese movies,
movies, right? Okay, and I never felt that way about any Scorsese movie. So, yeah,
really.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, even Taxi Driver,
Because I was gonna say Taxi Driver is a little bit slow paced, but you don't really feel that way when you watch it because you get into it.
I'm just saying that there's I liked it for what it was. But I would have expanded the story enough, like into the story with the girl and the daughter and the stuff like that, because that was a really creepy element of it that was kind of glossed over because we kept examining just Joaquin Phoenix's character. I mean,
but I think it made it more lonely feeling because it was just all about him and he was by himself.
It's possible that I don't like going to the theater and just watching a
guy go crazy.
I mean,
Well, speaking of that, I was gonna recommend, if we couldn't get to the Zombieland, I was gonna say let's watch The Lighthouse. Well, speaking of craziness,
and there was something about him that also reminds me of Marcel Marceau, and I didn't like Marcel.
Oh, see, I went to see Marcel Marceau actually in Tennessee when I lived there, and it was like toward the end of his life. I think he was like 80 something, and I still thought he was actually pretty amazing. But see, I guess I like weird. I like weird French movies, so that probably explains a lot of my reasoning here. Yeah. I mean, I like a lot of slow-paced French movies that are all like that make you think.
And I understand, but what I'm saying is there just seemed to me to be an awful lot of slow pacing for the sake of slow pacing, to the detriment of other pieces of story. I
felt that pacing was a little bit off at the beginning, and then I felt like toward the end it got pretty good though.
The end was amazing. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
The way they built it up at the end was awesome. The way they built up the tension.
Right. But I loved him interacting with other characters. Because that was a really heavy tension. I don't know if I liked as much the subtle tension of him,
especially the girl. Yeah, when there was the
girl. But no.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension there.
But not only the girl, the guys.
We don't even know what happened there.
The guys in the clown place.
We kind of know what happened, don't we, with the girl? But maybe not.
Yeah, we don't. We don't really. I mean, we don't know anything about any of the girl stuff except for that one real quick clip of the girl not being there in each place. Which I thought was an incredibly cheap way to get out of that. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, it was. You have to say that it was incredibly self-indulgent, but he was still pretty good in it. All right.
Oh, he's probably gonna get an Oscar for it.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
I know. It's like Oscars, whatever. But this one's gonna be nominated probably for a few different things.
Yeah.
I guess I liked it more than you did, probably.
Yeah,
no. I was looking at this also as a comic, like a Joker origin story, and it's like it's not probably what a lot of people expected, which is So I think I appreciated it for that reason because it was different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Heath Ledger's Joker.
No, it wasn't. Heath Ledger's was just just kind of a darker a darker version of the path that they'd been going down before. This was just a completely twisted reimagining of the beginning.
I think I actually like this more. I like his Joker a little bit more than Jack Nicholson's.
Oh, well, yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I loved I loved the Jokers before. Yeah, the last couple of Jokers before, because he just kept getting weirder and weirder and weirder. But there's still an element of
you don't think that Cesar Romero was weird?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but all of them are different ways of being cartoon weird, and this was not cartoon weird at all. I mean, not at all. This didn't have this. This didn't feel like it belonged in the Marvel universe at all. I mean, this
Well, this is more of it. So I think if you watch like Marvel and DC, this is kind of going the direction that DC's going in, where it's really dark and depressing.
Yeah, well, but more like a European movie, you know.
Yeah, this was. Yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised how they went that direction, but at the same time, I saw Joaquin Phoenix, and I kind of thought it would go that direction, so I wasn't surprised.
No.
But the contorting and the facial expressions, I mean, I was like, ow, just like, it's amazing.
I was thinking of him sitting there with a cigarette and saying, "Enough about you. Let's talk about me."
Right.
That's just me.
Well, they should have done something. They should have done a callback to Cesar Romero and had him like with a mustache, with he was dressed as a clown, and have the makeup over the mustache.
What would be great would be if Cesar Romero was the one that was doing the interview on TV.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been good. That would have been really deadly. And you know what? It would have even worked if you had any piece of him, if you'd done him a digital recreation of him, right?
Like Forrest Gump style. Yeah,
I mean, it would have worked perfectly in there. It really would have.
I think a backup plan would have been to have Jack Nicholson do it.
Right, exactly. Him do Sid Caesar, or him doing Caesar doing it. This is interesting. Okay.
What did you think of Robert De Niro? His performance? It was. I didn't really feel like he was kind of phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I got to tell you, I totally felt like he phoned it in. I mean, absolutely. I didn't believe for one moment that he was a talk show host. Did you?
No, I would have preferred actually having a real talk show host, like from the 70s, maybe. Like, I don't know if they could do that or not.
Well, somebody controversial. I would have seen him as like who's the daytime guys? One of the I'm trying to think of his name. The guy that was the mayor at one time. Kind of known for the schlock daytime.
Oh, you're talking about like Jerry Springer? Yeah, that would have been interesting.
To me, if you had taken that crazy Jerry...
Well, I was thinking what about Dick Cavett? Like, because he was alive in the 70s, right? Like, he still is, isn't he?
Here's what I'm saying is, if you had Jerry Springer doing a Dick Cavett-like thing, right?
Yeah.
See, I think that...
Well, Dick Cavett was pretty boring.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if he was doing like a Conan or something like that, that would have followed, right?
Yeah, or like a Johnny Carson or something.
Carson or something like that. I didn't buy De Niro.
No, the whole thing I didn't buy as a talk show at all.
He didn't, and he wasn't trying to be talk show host like, he was. It's funny. I mean, because all of a sudden, when the Joker got up and shot him, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Well, the talk show host didn't follow the golden rule.
The golden rule is?
Be nice to others and treat them how you want to be treated. Like, you don't bring somebody on under false pretense and then treat them like an...
Right, exactly, and let's face it, all of us believe deep down inside that there's a certain aspect of De Niro that actually is that person.
Right. Well, the only thing that really worked for me in my head is that he played Taxi Driver, and this is a similar story.
Right, exactly. But at the same time, he fit there for that. But if he had been any other role other than a talk show host, I think it would have worked, right?
Yeah, like a guy on a subway reading a newspaper.
Exactly. But him as a talk show host just doesn't work. I mean, just...
Maybe a taxi driver. They could have had him in a taxi, like, driving by or something.
That wouldn't have been on the nose or anything like that, would it?
Why not?
I wanted to say something really funny about that. Is that there's something that New York. When you're filming New York and you want to get that dirty, grimy look and stuff, that you have to go to LA for the alleys and stuff, right? You knew that, right? I think that we talked about that on the show one time. Yeah. So there was something about that. I was thinking that there was the aspect of they had replaced all the alleys with that one New York staircase. So they were looking for a good alley to shoot in, but they went the staircase direction. Yeah, I
didn't think about that, but now that you mentioned it.
and I also wanted to know this. I wanted to know, so what was it about the staircase that made it so the cops couldn't follow him?
Right.
Really?
That was weird. Yeah.
Wasn't that a little odd?
Well, what movie did you think of immediately when you saw the staircase? I thought of Exorcist.
Oh, yeah, me too. Oh.
But when the cops were just watching him, I was like, what the hell?
It's funny because there were two separate things that I thought of. I thought of The Exorcist, but then I thought of Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
I thought...
Well, I thought of there's something else I thought of that because you told me a story about this.
What?
Some guy dancing down the stairs during a movie. Gary Oldman?
Oh,
any ring any bells?
Oh, yeah, yeah. But that was interior. Yeah. That's right, Gary Oldman.
But the way he was moving was similar.
Right, and he just happened to be drunk, or he was playing a drunk man. Yeah, it was. I don't know. There was something. There was something about it that was, how they say style over.
Yes, substance.
Style over substance. That it there was just so much in there about Phoenix's acting, that it became,
But see, you let it speak for itself. It's like the less you say, the more it says. That's what French cinema is all about.
Sacre bleu! Don't you understand?
That's my French accent. That wasn't very good.
Wait a minute. Look, I'm going to use my non-words for a second.
Okay. Oh, well, that's so deep.
Pretty good, huh?
Oh, but see, that's what I'm talking about. That's your facial contortions and your back.
Riveting radio. Modern radio at its best.
It's theater of mind.
Yeah, okay. It's probably a 10-seater then.
That reminds me, totally off topic, but I was talking to, when I was in advertising, I was talking to this girl who owned a yoga studio, and she was like, why should I do radio? And I was like, well, you can tell your story, and it's like television. And she's like, how is it like television? I'm like, well, it's theater of mind. If you hear a commercial, you can imagine what you're hearing.
Right.
And she's like, you just made that term up, didn't you? And I'm like, okay, I can see I'm not going to get any sales today, so.
Cut your losses.
I'm like,
cut your losses and get in your car.
I was like, yeah, I just made that up.
Okay.
Sorry, I
I'll
tried.
Be going now.
Pack my stuff up and leave. But yeah, anyway.
I almost feel like I don't want to rate it because I have this dichotomous thing going. I mean, it was a really good film. At the same time, I think it was, really just.
So you should do Kurt math, like where you rate it based on his performance, rate it based on a Marvel movie, and then rate it based on a French movie, and then take the average.
I just think that I can be of two minds about it. I think it looked amazing. I think the wardrobe was particularly amazing. I think the look of the 70s and stuff that they got out of it was like just weird and funky and awesome. But
for me, it's a feeling I had when I left the theater.
But I think it was a one-character show, and I think that's what it was supposed to be, though. I think it was a one-character show, and I wanted to see more of the world.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I can see your point, but I don't necessarily agree. I'm actually at a 4, I think, on this one.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna stay down at a 3. That's as far as I'm going.
So is that based on a Marvel movie, or is that based on a Joaquin Phoenix performance, or is that based on a French movie, or is that based on an American movie?
I was just basing it on the fact that I had an itch on my ass about halfway through, and it wasn't gonna go away, and so that's what I'm based on.
The theater, right?
The theater
has
yeah. By the way,
bed bugs, probably.
Can I say this? AMC theaters, that smell in the bathroom is here.
Oh my God! No.
I swear to God, I was like, I walked in the bathroom thinking, oh, this is going to be amazing because this is going to be the first AMC, bathroom that I've been in that isn't going to smell. Oh my God! Oh my God!
There wasn't even like a different flavor, like because you're in a different state.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how much worse this one is than the one we normally go to. Right? This is honestly you know how you get the ticket, the AMC online, you go get the ticket, and it's got the little bars, right?
Yeah.
It didn't give me a bar. It literally gave me a ticket. It showed a ticket, and I went up and I was apologizing, and I go, well, I don't know what this is. Every other AMC theater I've gone to, has these bars, and he goes, well, we don't have any readers here. So he literally wrote a number down, and there was a list. There was a list in front of him. He just wrote the ticket numbers down. Wow. Yeah. So I guess if it's possible, I slip even further back into time.
Well, I was walking by the bathroom tonight, and there was a guy talking to a guy that looked like he might have been from corporate because he's wearing an AMC shirt. And one of the employees was talking about the bathroom. Yeah, well, we usually clean it every week or what. I don't know what he was saying, but as I was walking by, and I was running late for the movie, so I didn't stop to listen. But I wanted to stop and interject my thoughts.
Right, exactly. I'd like to. I would like to defend the employees here because honestly, they watch that motherfucking thing like every 20 minutes, and because the surfaces were never dry in there.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well at DW Review. And of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.